We live in a world that rewards noise. Social media has made it normal to announce every intention, every goal, and every half-baked idea. But the truth is, the people who are actually building something that matters aren't broadcasting it. They're busy doing the work. Focus over flash means you stop performing for attention and start committing to execution. It's about being more obsessed with the outcome than the optics. There's a difference between being visible and being valuable. Visibility feels good, it strokes the ego. You post a new project or a big dream and get instant validation. But value is built in the background through consistent action, repeated failures, and disciplined refinement. You can't shortcut that process with likes or attention. People who chase flash often end up burnt out, confused, and stuck in the same cycle of starting over because they never took the time to build something solid in silence. Focus means narrowing in on what really matters, tuning out the noise, and becoming unavailable to distractions. Flash, on the other hand, is addicting. It pulls you into comparison. You see someone else's highlight reel, and suddenly your own goals feel too slow or too small. But speed means nothing if you're running in the wrong direction. Flash makes you reactive. Focus makes you intentional. When you prioritize focus, your calendar looks different. You stop saying yes to things that don't move the needle. You stop spending energy trying to impress people who aren't even part of your mission. You become deeply committed to your priorities, not just interested in them. That's the difference between someone who builds momentum and someone who stays stuck in the planning phase forever. The people who win long-term are the ones who don't need to be seen while they're working. They're not afraid to be underestimated. In fact, they welcome it because while everyone else is talking, they're building. While others are performing, they're perfecting. They don't need to prove anything to anyone in real time. They're okay with being misunderstood in the moment because they know clarity is coming in the form of results. And here's the thing, when you focus, you move faster. Not because you're rushing, but because you're not wasting time explaining, defending, or promoting every step. You're just doing the work. You're refining the product, strengthening the process, and preparing the infrastructure for when the spotlight does come, because it will, when you're ready. No, you don't have to shout to be powerful. You don't have to document every move to be effective. In fact, the more serious you are about your goal, the less you'll feel the need to talk about it. Real confidence is quiet. Real commitment is shown in consistency, not commentary. If you want to build something that lasts, something with actual impact, you need to care more about the foundation than the facade. That means putting your head down and working. It means showing up early, staying late, saying no more often, and being okay with missing out on the applause. Because applause is temporary, but results build reputation. Results create freedom. Results change your life. So stop chasing flash, choose focus. Your future self will thank you. Silence isn't weakness. It's not avoidance. It's not a lack of ambition. Silence, when used with intention, is a strategy, one of the most powerful tools you can have in your toolbox. When you move in silence, you take control. You shift the energy from reacting to everything around you to creating exactly what you want on your terms. You stop explaining yourself. You stop justifying your every move. You start making decisions based on what moves the mission forward, not what impresses others or invites applause. People waste so much energy talking about what they're going to do. They make big declarations, announce plans they haven't even started, and look for praise just for setting intentions. But intentions don't change outcomes. Execution does. And silence creates the space you need for execution to actually happen. It removes the pressure to live up to public declarations and lets you focus on doing the work without distraction, without external judgment, and without unnecessary noise. When you choose silence, you are choosing to protect your process. You are choosing to honor the fact that real progress often happens behind closed doors, far away from the audience, far away from the need for validation. You don't owe anyone updates while you're in the building phase. You don't owe them explanations, timelines, or previews. Your only job is to stay aligned with your vision, stay disciplined with your time, and stay focused on results. Silence also removes the temptation to perform. It keeps your energy in check. It stops you from leaking confidence by seeking reassurance. Because here's what happens when you talk too much. You open the door for opinions. And not all opinions deserve access to your process. People will project their fears, their doubts, and their limitations onto your goals, not because they're malicious, but because they're not you. They don't see what you see. They don't carry your conviction. And when you're in the early stages of building something, those opinions can shake you if you let them in. Silence keeps the doors locked until your results are undeniable. Strategic silence also gives you leverage. When people don't know your next move, they can't interfere. They can't prepare to compete with you. They can't anticipate your growth or predict your shift. That kind of unpredictability gives you power. You become the person they underestimated, the one they didn't see coming. And that surprise factor, that's a competitive edge. It gives you the ability to move with freedom and strike with precision without outside pressure clouding your judgment. People who move in silence aren't afraid of being overlooked. They understand that recognition will come, and when it does, it will be earned, not begged for. They understand that leadership doesn't come from being loud. It comes from being clear, from being disciplined, from being relentless behind the scenes. You don't need an audience to grow. You need structure. You need consistency. You need systems that allow you to work smarter, not louder. Absolutely. Silence doesn't mean you're hiding. It means you're prioritizing. It means you are so committed to your vision that you're willing to delay recognition in order to earn real, lasting results. You're willing to say less so you can do more. You're willing to be misunderstood today to be undeniable tomorrow. This isn't about being secretive for the sake of mystery. It's about being intentional with your energy and selective with your exposure. You're not here to impress, you're here to build. And building takes time, focus, and clarity. Silence gives you all three. So use your silence wisely, let it sharpen your vision, protect your momentum, and amplify your results. Let your work introduce you, let your success speak when the time is right. Until then, stay quiet, stay focused, stay dangerous. Success doesn't need a spokesperson. It doesn't need a publicist or a hype machine. It speaks for itself, clearly, confidently, and without permission. When you truly let success speak, you stop wasting time trying to convince people of your potential and start proving it through performance. You don't need to explain why you're different, you show them. You don't chase validation, you deliver results that make silence louder than any speech. There's a difference between making noise and making impact. Noise is fast, loud, and easy to forget. Impact is quiet, deliberate, and impossible to ignore. Too many people confuse activity with progress. They post about the hustle. They share every move. They're constantly trying to look successful instead of doing what it takes to become successful. But those who truly win understand this. It's not about how fast you talk. It's about how strong your execution is when it matters. Letting success speak is about patience. It's about restraint. It's about being more interested in building something that lasts than impressing people in the short term. You don't need to tell people how committed you are. Your discipline shows them. You don't have to talk about how hard you're working. Your results reveal the effort. When you get this right, your growth becomes the message. You become undeniable, not because you shouted, but because you delivered. There is power in being underestimated. When people don't see you coming, they can't prepare. They sleep on you. They dismiss you. And while they're distracted, you're building. You're refining your craft. You're improving systems. You're solving problems no one else even sees. Then one day, you show up. Not to explain, not to prove, but to dominate. That's what it means to let success speak. You don't need to narrate every step of your journey. You don't need to announce your plans or respond to doubt. People will always have opinions, but when the results hit, opinions shift. Even the critics get quiet when the numbers speak. Even the doubters lean in when the evidence is undeniable. That's the moment you've been building for, not for revenge, not for praise, but for clarity, real clarity, the kind that can only come from doing the work no one sees. But letting success speak also means taking full ownership of your progress. You're not waiting for the right moment, the right partnership, or the perfect environment. You're taking what you have and turning it into something real, something measurable, something that stands on its own. And when you do that consistently, people notice, not because you ask them to, but because success has a way of demanding attention. This isn't about being silent forever. It's about speaking through results instead of promises. It's about building such a strong track record that your name becomes a synonym for consistency. You don't chase the spotlight, you create it by showing up, delivering, and exceeding expectations over and over again. That's what builds trust. That's what builds a reputation that sticks. When success speaks for you, people listen differently. They listen with respect. They listen with interest. They pay attention, not because you asked for it, but because you earned it. That's a different level of influence, one that doesn't fade with trends or hype. So stay quiet while you build. Stay focused while they talk. And when the time comes, let your results do all the talking. Because in the end, words fade, noise fades, but success, that echoes. And it always speaks louder than anything you could say. Staying unavailable to drama is a decision to protect your energy, your focus, and your future. It's not just about avoiding gossip or negativity. It's about refusing to be distracted by anything that doesn't move you closer to your goals. Drama thrives on reaction. It feeds off emotional reactivity, insecurity, and ego. But if you're serious about growth, you can't afford to give your energy to anything that doesn't build momentum. Every minute you spend engaging with drama is a minute stolen from progress. People who are addicted to drama will always try to pull you in. They'll present it as concern, loyalty, or even curiosity. But the truth is, drama is noise in disguise. It pulls your attention away from what matters and plants seeds of doubt, competition, and distraction. And if you're not intentional, it will derail your mindset and shift your focus from creation to reaction. That's a game you cannot win because there's no finish line in drama. There's only wasted time and broken focus. Staying unavailable doesn't mean you're cold or disconnected. It means you're disciplined. It means you understand the cost of every distraction and you're unwilling to pay that price. It means you've decided to operate on a different frequency, one that values clarity over chaos, purpose over popularity, and peace over pettiness. It's a mindset shift from reactive to strategic, from emotional to focused, from scattered to dialed in. This also means you don't need to respond to everything. Not every comment deserves a comeback. Not every opinion requires your defense. High performers understand that silence can be more powerful than a rebuttal. When you don't take the bait, you win. You conserve your energy for the work that matters. You stop playing small games with people who don't even understand the arena you're playing in. Staying unavailable to drama is a leadership skill. Leaders don't get dragged into messes. They set the tone. They create an environment where focus is the standard and results are the priority. And that starts with personal discipline. You can't lead a team, grow a business, or build a powerful life if you're constantly reacting to petty problems. You have to be the one who holds the line, who stays grounded while others spiral, who stays calm while others gossip, who stays committed while others chase distractions. There will always be opportunities to get involved in drama. It might come from coworkers, friends, family, or even competitors, but your job is not to fix it, fuel it, or fight it. Your job is to rise above it, to recognize it for what it is, a detour. And if your destination is excellence, you can't afford detours. This level of discipline builds credibility. People start to see you differently. You become known as someone who's not easily shaken, someone who's focused, someone who doesn't engage in chaos. That kind of presence commands respect. It separates you from the crowd, not through arrogance, but through consistency, through self-restraint, through the quiet confidence of someone who's building something too important to be interrupted. So, stop responding to things that don't matter. Stop explaining yourself to people who aren't invested in your growth. Stop giving your power away in conversations that go nowhere. Your energy is a limited resource. Invest it where it multiplies, on your goals, your growth, your team, your mission. Leave the rest alone. Drama is loud. Growth is quiet. Let others chase attention. You stay focused on results. Because the people who make the most noise rarely make the most impact. And the ones who stay unavailable to drama, they stay available to win. Too many people are obsessed with being seen before they've built anything worth seeing. They want the audience, the applause, the recognition before they've done the hard work of creating value. But real success doesn't work like that. You don't get to broadcast before you build. The foundation has to come first. The systems, the product, the habits, the consistency. That's what gives you the right to speak. Without that, you're just making noise. Building first means being willing to delay attention. It means putting your head down and doing the work when no one's watching, no one's clapping, and no one's validating you. It means choosing the grind over the glamour. It's unglamorous, it's repetitive, and it's exactly what sets you apart from people who only want the highlight reel. Broadcasting is easy. Building is what tests your character. When you build first, you're creating something real. You're testing, failing, refining, and learning. You're getting feedback from reality, not from a curated audience. That's the work that matters. It's not the Instagram post, the announcement, or the behind the scenes vlog. It's the hours spent making sure what you're building actually works, that it holds up under pressure, that it solves a real problem, that it's not just for show, but for substance. Broadcasting too early puts unnecessary pressure on you. It creates expectations before results. It invites opinions before stability. And when you're still figuring things out, that kind of pressure can kill your momentum. You start building for approval instead of for impact. You start changing direction based on feedback from people who don't even understand your vision. That's how you lose your edge. That's how you build something that looks good from the outside, but collapses under the weight of real execution. Building first is also a trust play. People trust results. They trust consistency. They trust what they can see and verify. When you show up after doing the work, your credibility is built in. You don't have to convince anyone. You just present what's already proven. And that's when broadcasting becomes powerful, because now it's not marketing, it's documentation. You're not selling a dream. You're showing a result. And that kind of message lands completely differently. There's a time for broadcasting, absolutely. But it comes after the work, after the wins, after the process has been tested and sharpened. Then, and only then, do you share. Not for validation, but for leadership. Not to impress, but to inspire. Because now you're not guessing, you're not hoping, you're speaking from experience, from results, from authority. This mindset also keeps you grounded. When you're focused on building, you don't get distracted by comparison. You're not measuring your progress against someone else's public image. You're locked in on your own numbers, your own process, your own mission. You move with confidence because you're not faking anything, you're earning it. And when you finally decide to broadcast, the message lands with weight because it's backed by something real. So take your time, do the work, build the product, build the habits, build the mindset, build the culture, build the proof. Let your story mature before you tell it. Let the results stack up. Then when you broadcast, people will listen, not because you're loud, but because you've built something worth hearing about. Building first is how you win long term. Broadcasting later is how you scale that win without sacrificing credibility. Get the order right, and you won't need to chase attention. It will come to you. Because what's built well will always rise, no matter how long it takes to be seen.